Breaking the Matrix. Principles, understanding what we're up against, and mindset. What is the Matrix? This is the control system that is put in place that keeps us average at best. The system that keeps you from being the greatest version of yourself, where you don't know what your purpose is, where you're broke, unhealthy, and unhappy. In short, it keeps you from being filled and living your best life. Who runs the Matrix? The global elite very well knows power that they have is the one that used to keep you down. This is the type of power that is, of course, an illusion, because the real power comes from lifting others up and personal growth. The World Economic Forum plays a big part at this, as they are the unelected leaders that are calling the shots. They control everything from climate change, current politics, and corporations. They work in tandem with other leaders as well as big pharma to create change. They create a problem, they come up with their own solution, and they disguise it as good. So how is the Matrix run? The system is ran by one word: fear. If you are operating out of fear, you don't have access to your critical thinking abilities and are much more controllable. Under fear or stress, the blood vessels of the prefrontal cortex, which are responsible for cognition, get shut, and the blood goes to the amygdala, which is part of the brain which is responsible for fight or flight. When this happens, you become less intelligent and reactive. The so-called powers that be know this very well and use fear as a control tactic to pay attention or do what they say. So how do we break the matrix and stay free? Power of self-awareness. Increasing your self-awareness will improve your situational awareness. Also, being able to critical think will improve self-awareness. An example would be knowing whether or not it is real fear or made up. Listening to your inner guidance will help you know how to respond. Now, situational awareness is the type of awareness that you get from the environment, sensing what is real and what isn't. Practice courage. Practice courage by putting yourself in other challenging situations. The more obstacles you overcome, the more you build that muscle, focusing on the small wins to get you to the bigger ones. We tend to fear what we don't understand. If you're presented with a topic, you're much more likely to be fearful of it if you don't know anything about it. If we take time to understand and break it down, the fear will be much less because we actually know what we're dealing with. The wealth mindset. This is the type of mindset that runs in abundance, and the question is, are you living in scarcity or abundance, faith or fear? The decision will determine the quality of our lives. When we act out of scarcity or lack, we will never have enough. On the other hand, living in abundance will allow you to be of greater service to yourself and those around you. The thing is that the tide raises all ships. When you get better, everyone gets better. The more you act in abundance, the more will come to you. Wealth. Learning how to take control of your finances and investing is key. Money is like oxygen, the currency to fuel your dreams. What is your relationship to money? Many of us are carrying around limiting beliefs about money. Fear of money, limiting beliefs will lead to lack of it. You must be first wealthy as a person internally if you want to sustain wealth over the long term. So knowing what you really want, your purpose, is very important. Health. Health is not just the absence of disease, but it's the optimization of it, being optimized in our own bodies. How well do you feel on a day-to-day basis? It's very well the most important valuable asset. Learning proper nutrition, sleep, movement habits will transform your character from the inside out. I have written in depth about this on the site. A major part of health is also about the mindset and emotional health. Health is not just one thing. We tend to think of nutrition, exercise, yes. These are just two important pillars, and there are many more. Taking into account nutrition, sleep, and exercise, sunlight, EMF exposure, grounding, water, hormetic stressors, emotions, relationships, and all over stress load. Relationships. The most important factor in your relationships is the one you have with yourself. So everything you do stems out from how you relate to yourself, how you manage yourself with others, daily habits, and what you do and what you do not do. All stems from your own mind. Cultivating healthy relationships is very important and the foundation of real life. United we stand, divided we fall. The more separate we feel from others and the universe as a whole, the more easy it is to be controlled. Understanding what we're up against. So technocracy. Technocracy is the idea that the government should be ran by an algorithm and not. Technocracy describes a form of government of which scientific and technical experts serve as positions of political power and make financial decisions. The higher authorities appoint a technocrat instead of the public. This can very easily lead to authoritarianism. Now, technocracy was developed in the early 1900s. 1932, Technocracy Inc. was housed in Columbia University, and Howard Scott was actually their leader. Howard Scott was discovered to be a fraud. He did not have an engineering degree, which was required to have his position. And Murray Butler, which was the president of the university, found this out and kicked him out of the technocracy movement. At the same time, Scott was working toward the media to promote technocracy. He was working at the Hearst Empire, and Hearst Empire was also finding him as a fraud, and his media company was manipulated. So he sent out a memo to every newspaper in the country saying, if you are mentioning technocracy again, you will be fired. Patrick Wood, a leading expert in technocracy, had discovered an archive at the University of Edinburgh in Alberta, where all the leaders in Canadian technocracy movement had combined their papers in the 90s. Documents had been placed in a warehouse until they built up an archive to be published. After that, Wood drove down to the university to sit through all the documents and flush them out to see what was really going on with the movement. Another thing in this realm is the Trilateral Commission, which is founded by David Rockefeller in 1973. Now, the original statement was to create a new internal economic order. In David Rockefeller's memoir, he states, "Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global, political, and economic structure. One world. If you will, if that is change, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it." Trilateral Commission members are usually appointed by the government administration. So these clowns want a one world government. So what are some mindset tactics we can undertake to kind of help us break the matrix? Number one, freedom wins. Freedom is everything. It's the only thing. It's all we know. Without freedom, we don't have anything. They can never be as strong as faster as us because they operate out of rules. Stand for freedom is stand for what's real. As you can see, they're not into living your best life. They want an agenda. Do not take orders from tyrants. Do not comply. I will not comply. I will stay free. Everything is birthed out of it. Realities cannot be taken because they never gave it to us in the first place. Freedom is inherent in us. It can never actually be taken. All you have to do is wake up within. Don't bite the fear. Stay focused on the mission. Don't play by the rules, live by principles. Uphold standards and values within yourself every single day. Cultivate a standard that cannot be touched. Discipline equals freedom. Yes, you can do whatever you want, but what are your results at the end of the day? Right? Make sure you're implementing certain tactics and mindsets and habits to get what you actually want. Listen to your inner guidance, not them. So do not comply. Whatever thing they do, whatever role they give you, don't play it. Understand there is a lot of personal choice with that. For example, maybe it's worth putting on a mask for 5 minutes to go in a building, or maybe not. Up to you. Give them no mercy. I have no mercy when it comes to dreams and goals. Be relentless in your pursuit. I have no mercy in the path to freedom. I don't negotiate with what I want and my goals, because I know it's a God-given thing and is here to serve everyone. Never surrender and always win. This has to be put in context. This has to be done with principles. We're just talking about going after a goal in your heart that you know is yours. Keep going. They don't take days off, neither can we. Cultivate greatness within ourselves. We owe it to us and the world. Stoicism. Now, there are many Greek philosophers around the world who have ranging viewpoints, and originated from a philosopher named Zeno in Cyprus, who has lost everything after a shipwreck. He started reading about Socrates and studied with some of the most noted philosophers of the city at the time. Some main philosophers of Stoicism that came after him were of Zeno, Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, and Seneca. They cultivated inner peace by accepting the things that they cannot change and focusing their energy towards their actions. It's a type of mindset that will allow us to stay calm and effective amidst of adversity. When we stay certain, we can't fail or fall for the nonsense. Stealth. Using technology that cannot be tracked or censored, whether or not we know it, we are constantly being tracked and monitored. Giving them data we don't understand what they're doing with. They call themselves data brokers, which they can be parallel to stockbrokers, which they take your data, sell it to third parties without you even knowing it. So using things that aren't trackable, like Rumble, which is YouTube alternative, X, of course, on social media, perhaps get into Bitcoin. Use alternatives to Google, such as Brave and ProtonMail. So breaking the matrix is a very important thing if we want to have freedom within ourselves. Understand that it all starts with us. We have to all do our part, become the greatest versions of us every single day. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the show. For more, you can head over to anthonygastella.com for articles, coaching, and other free resources. Also, if you can, leave a review for the show, let people know what you think, and I would appreciate that so much. Support the mission of freedom. Thanks for being on this mission with me, and I promise to give you more powerful, empowering, great content to help transform your life. Thanks for tuning in.